We all know that it's called the bionic, the bomb, the puff, the blow, the black, the herb, the sensei, the chronic, the sweet Mary Jane, ganja, spliff, reefer, the bad, the Buddha, the homegrown, the ill, the Maui Maui, the method, pot, lethal, turbo, Thai, shake, skunk, stress, wacky, weed, blaze, the boot, dime bag, Scooby-Doo, bob, bogey, backyard boogie. But what is the other terms for it?
That's safe. That about covers it.
It's the Golden Reach Show. That's CS.
That's Sasha.
And we are live. That was new music from As the City Sleeps. And we're live on idobi Radio. We're remote. I said that in like the beginning of the show so that you'd have an expectation that things would go wrong, because it is a very full moon and things may go wrong. If this show gets through, I will think our luck has changed for the better, because that will mean mad stars have to align.
They are aligning right now.
They are. They're much better, right?
Yeah, we look great. We sound great. We're live on idobi Radio.
Yeah, why don't you say all the stuff again? The socials
and
again.
you know where you could find us? We are on YouTube. You can watch all our videos at Cool Nerd Weed Show.
Mm-hmm.
We are now on Spotify.
Yeah.
At Cool Nerd Weed Show.
Yeah, find us there. Find our video there. And our voices.
Where else? We are on X, Cool Nerd Weed, and Instagram at Cool Nerd Weed Show.
Yeah. Instagram does shadow ban us, but it doesn't matter. We're very responsive. We're always on Instagram. So if you DM us, we will answer you. If you email us, we're coolnerdweedshow@gmail.com. We will also email you. We like to correspond with you. If you're a budtender, if you're anybody who works in the industry, reach out. We would love to talk to you in every way. Because this industry it's a community. And that's the way I was brought into this community. I was brought into this community when it was still compassion, and it was still a like happy. I mean, it's not like it's not a happy place to be, but when we were in it, and when I first started, for somebody who came from completely the outside, like completely East Coast, weed is illegal, to being surrounded by it and being like right in the thick of it, the dispensary was like the best place ever. It was, before I worked there, that's why I wanted to work there, is because I would get the best vibes. I would get the best, like I would literally go in there and then I'd be like, okay, I'm going to have a good day. I got my weed. I had a conversation with somebody about fucking like God today or something like that. The Budtender just like told me like his life story, and I like could relate to it. Something happened always at the dispensary that made me leave feeling good. You know?
Yeah, absolutely. One thing that I miss about the community of cannabis is that we used to be able to smoke in the dispensaries and before work.
True.
In the break rooms. And that led to a lot more bonding, a lot more funny stories being told, a lot more community vibes.
Right. I totally agree. We would try weed together. We would get high together on our breaks. We would go to lunch and, get like Mexican food and then smoke a giant joint by the bus station or the bus stop rather, or a blunt. Like, oh my God, those were those were great times. Those times, I mean, I would say I would go as so far to say that they saved me many times when I was going through very tough things. And this was the community that we wanted to create. And now I guess you'd be able to tell me, but like, so you can't, the reason why I'm bringing this up is because I actually saw a TikTok today. So maybe like all is not lost. Like maybe it has changed for the employee, but for the patient, or I guess now would be the customer, maybe it does feel the same, because this TikTok was like very much saying the same exact thing that I said. Like going, like, what did he call it? Like a form of heaven or something? Let me find the creator.
The cannabis dispensary is as close to heaven on earth as you can get, because all people, there's like one thing that we can agree on, no matter where you're from, your nationality, your religion, your race, your sexual orientation, doesn't matter. We can all agree on cannabis.
Yes. That's my dog. That's not the. There's TikTok. There's my dog. What are we doing? What is this fucking CNN? No. Yes.
Even
yes.
Rudy agrees.
Yes. Yes. You already know. Rudy's a cannabis dog. They have gotten much CBD today. Okay, so the creator that I was talking about, his name is TC Burkej. He just came across my feed. We get cannabis content because of everything, and it is our like when you're in it too. It's hard not to make it your whole being. Like look at behind me. Like it's like it is because I want it to be. And I even read like old like Facebook stati that I used to post when I first got into it, and I would be like so fulfilled, because I was really working for something that made people honestly and truly better and different and like it wasn't what everybody thinks it is. And that was also something that I felt was important to get across too, is yes, our stereotypes are there for a reason, of course, but the dispensary is really a spiritual place. And one of my favorite comments underneath that, and you mentioned it too, like any sexuality, any religion, anything, we'd have people from literally all over the globe come to us. Everywhere. And one of the first comments on this post says, how do you want to feel? Like that's what we ask them. When somebody comes in and they don't know what they want, our first question is, well, how do you want to feel? Like, what a fucking beautiful question that is. What a great, deep, and meaningful question that is, because there's no other way to explain weed. It helps you feel. I mean, if you are, if it is your thing, I don't want to say it for everybody, but if it is your thing, it helps you feel how you want to feel. Sometimes it helps you feel how you don't want to feel. And you're like, ooh, those are emotions that I need to deal with. That's how I think anyway. Tommy John said it. You live in the moment. You live right now when you smoke weed. Or we had somebody come from fucking the UK. A woman came from the UK and she had like stage very late breast cancer and she was surviving by sheer like just taking RSO to get her to eat her like basic meals because she was going through so much therapy. And she was like, I can't get this back home. It's very illegal for me to get this back home. So when she's in California, she takes it. She's like, I want to take advantage of all, like, so you go from somebody who is kind of curious, who's like, who like maybe saw it on TV or like whose kid's friend does it and wants to try it. And then you go to like people who really need it and use it for these medicinal purposes that we've seen at least help with the appetite so you can feel good just for the day. Like that's a really powerful thing to be a part of. Like it's still like that, right? Though?
Yes, you're absolutely. We do help people out every single day, but we see, since it's open to anybody that's over 21 now, we get to see people from all over the country, and they do come to us all over the world and they say, this is a beautiful place. Your dispensary is amazing. We don't get this at home. This is highly illegal where I live. And, then they take that experience, that positive experience in the dispensary, and they take that back and they tell all of their friends about it, whether it helped treat their symptoms while they were in California or whatever legal dispensary you're in, or somebody just, they wanted a sativa pre-roll just to like hang out and go to the observatory. So you're seeing, it's still like, how do you want to feel? And let's keep that, that they feel like they're part of that community and that world and that vibe. And,
and you can take it from me, like if you want to be part of that world, now also it is different. It's different it's a different time working for the industry. It doesn't, I reckon, doesn't feel exactly the same as it did during those like beautiful golden times that we're talking about, and even more so, or even less so than, you know, when it first was a thing. You know, that wasn't even in the mainstream. It was just decriminalized or medicinalized or whatever. Like in the industry, I have to hope that it feels, even though like some of the soul has bit, the compassion is kind of not there anymore and all that stuff. But I do have to hope that those who are still working in the industry feel that they are doing like a service, or that they are part of something big, you know, like something that like can change somebody else, you know, somebody who needs weed or hasn't smoked weed. I do hope that people who are in it feel the same as we felt before, just that this is important stuff and we're not just like peddling dope, you know, or we're not like, I mean, we're nerds, so obviously, and we're like the most on time stoners that you'll ever meet. So we are like, like sometimes I want to say we break the mold, but we don't. Like Los Angeles is a city full of functional stoners, and your city could be too. And get out and vote in November.
That's the whole thing. You can't tell. And we see every single person generationally and from all walks of life. And
Yeah.
that is a beautiful thing. And it's still happening.
Yeah. That's what's really cool too about being in a dispensary. Like, even if you work there or not, like to see the variety of people who stop by, and to know that like when you work there, one day you're going to see somebody who's a lawyer, one day you're going to see somebody who's a teacher, one day a nurse, one day a mom, one day a new mom, one day a dad, one day like just, you know, just a person. Like you see so many people a day sometimes, that like it is really wild to think about. And then just as an observer, like people are always like, I do like to watch the people come in and out of dispensaries. Like it's
You
just so
you get to
interesting.
know people, your regulars that come in, and you do get a peek into their lives. And it's
Oh, for
everything.
sure. For
It's
sure.
everything and everybody.
For sure. For a while after I left, I kept in touch with a couple of the patients, like for sure. Like we would just randomly text, and
We still see people when we're out in Hollywood.
yeah, we do. We are the local local weed peeps.
I DM with people from the old shops all the time. My faves.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah, for sure. For sure. It's a really great, it's a great social moment, and it really is an important like vibe to keep, you know. That's what I want to try to keep. I did stitch something earlier in this week on TikTok, but I took it down because it wasn't getting any views, and it was about weeds, so like I was like, whatever. Why do I even bother? But I also thought about it, and I was like, I don't even want to put the first part of it out there at all. So I don't know. I might make a video about it, but it is basically like, it was like really, it was a cannabis creator. I think I didn't even look at the rest of her page. I should have, but she seemed to be answering like comments or whatever. Seemed to be part of a series, and one of the comments were, "What are some customer red flags or whatever?" And she started to name like some pretty funny like things that customers do. And obviously, like, you know, we have a laugh, we give it a little giggle, you know, here and there. And when you work in any retail customer based transactional service, like you're going to have those things. I feel, and this is how I feel, and I can take a joke, I make a joke. I feel that we should try to keep it less about this, like, I don't know, it's almost like a pretentious vibe sometimes with Budtenders that I don't think
Ye-
needs to happen.
Absolutely. You know, uh, cannabis is for the people and brings the people together, and things like that, they divide us.
They divide us. And I remember a video not long ago, like actually a while ago, that I also reacted to. It was somebody saying like, what are your pet peeves at the sesh or whatever? Like, bitch, the fact that I'm out of the house, that's my pet peeve. Like, I don't like, so that, to me, like, that's just, why are we doing that? You're already paranoid and self-conscious if you don't smoke weed that much as it is, even if you do. Like stoners are very self-conscious. This is facts. So why are we, and like people who haven't done it before, people who come into a dispensary and maybe it's overwhelming and it makes them nervous and they have to say the silly thing or, ask for the THC percentage that's the highest because that's what they know what to do. Whatever. Things about weed are changing always. That's why we're here to tell you about it. But don't feel, if you're new to weed or you are that customer that's like, oh, well, I guess I do kind of do that. Like, I'm here to tell you that we've seen worse. I'm here to tell you that we've seen some fucked up shit. And as long as you're not an asshole, you don't come in mean to us, you show your ID and you fucking bring cash probably. And like, we're fine with those things, like that's it.
Yeah. Everything else you leave at the door.
Yeah. Or bring it to us. Like you know what I mean? Like we'll.
For sure.
Suss it out. You know what I mean? But
always.
But I always had personal relationships, both when I was a budtender and when I was a receptionist. And like, I really cherish those. It meant a lot to me and it like formed who I was. So don't feel uncomfortable when you go into a dispensary and you're like, like it smells like weed in here. Like if I had a fucking penny and I would play along because like it does smell like weed in here and it's awesome. Like
love the smell of weed.
It does, and it's gonna smell like weed in a lot more places because it's gonna be more accepted, and we're gonna have a sesh together, and it's gonna be awesome. That's how I think we should look at it. It's not annoying. It's not a red flag. Just like we've been saying, and our creator said, our creator, like our God, this creator said, like our creator has said, the dispensary is a sacred place. It's like a place that's very close to heaven on earth. And we are like the ambassadors. One may say we are the angels.
I would go as far as to say we are the angels.
We're the angels of the dispensary who want to bestow our cannabis blessings upon you.
That's all we really want to do.
We do. And I want to keep it that way. So I don't know, as a creator, do whatever you want. Like it's no skin off my buns, but I would like to put it out there and take it from the two curmudgeonly-ist people in the industry. Like I remember, but that's the thing about like a dispensary for realsies. We actually are a bunch of curmudgeons. That's why we work in weed. Like we're trying to chill and we're trying to spread awareness and safe access and to be part of something. And like, it's stressful.
It is. There's always forces working against you in the cannabis industry,
Always.
but we try to shield you from that. We'll talk about it here. But when you come into the dispo,
it's all about you.
We're not going to judge you. Come to us with all your questions, whatever it is. Order your Blue Dream.
You know what? Enjoy it. Enjoy it. Sometimes, and like, hey, we've all had a blue dream phase. You know what I'm saying? Like, just because we're in this crazy exotic mode of weed where naming it doesn't even make sense anymore. People who haven't even heard of Blue Dream, who just know that is the only weed that they know, like it is the only weed that they've ever heard of. If they come into the dispensary and you're like, well, no, I actually have this like blue Skittle Zagoat fucking Queen King sativa. Like they're gonna be like, what? Like you're gonna make people feel like unwelcome, and I just don't feel like that is what this community should be. let alone is, because I don't feel like that's what it is. I don't want to turn into, and obviously I love tattoo artists and tattoos and all of the things, but I feel like an asshole every time I go into a shop that I don't know, and I kind of don't know the setup or the rules yet. And like, I've been doing it for a long time, but when you're young, like they make you feel like most tattoo places make you feel like a jerk just for like wanting a tattoo.
It can, yes, walking into a tattoo shop is very intimidating, and
Yes.
we equate walking into your local cannabis dispensary sometimes feel the same way.
Yeah,
But
it could be.
We try our best to not make you feel like that and to be welcome.
And I compare it to a tattoo shop because I feel like tattoo artists and tattoos in general, they were, very stigmatized. We can't remember a day right now, but like it was illegal to tattoo in New York until like very late in the 20th century.
It was like a rule on the books in New York for like 100 years and finally was removed.
Yeah, so it was quite illegal. And you were we are part of the generation that grew up with you couldn't get a job if you had a fucking wrist tattoo. So like I'm not old. I'm older, but I'm not old, guys. And that was a thing. So I bring that up because it was so stigmatized. And I think when it got unstigmatized, I think they were just like, whoa. You don't like with the new age tattoos and all of the technologies and stuff like that, I can see how old heads would be a little like, and the riffraffs and the whatnot. So there's a lot of things to weed out. So I am not like hating on a cranky tattoo artist. And honestly, like I've had better experiences than worse, but I've seen a lot of people say this. And it does remind me of how I feel like dispensaries may get if we're not careful. I don't want to be like that. I don't want to make people feel stupid for not knowing another weed other than Blue Dream, or for like saying a joke or whatever. Like bring your ID. That is mindful. That is demure. And also like cash is a good bet, but a lot of people are taking credit cards too. And if they don't have what you want, your budtender should very kindly find what you want. And I feel like that is just a community and a vibe that I want to preserve.
Cannabis brings us all together.
Yeah. Well, you got to keep it. You got to keep up the practice in the field. You got to keep those good vibes
all the time. PMA all day in the old dispo.
Yeah. We'll do our best. And you just have to come with an open mind. We are going to take a break and then hopefully come back. We'll see. No guarantees. You might have just gotten the best of what we have to offer, and for that we love you. We'll be right back.
Gummies, 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 I got gummies. Do you want some gummies? It's the Cool Nerd Weed Show.
And we're back.
We're back.
I think. It's the Cool Nerd Weed Show. That's CS.
And that's Sasha.
Yeah, we're back. We're live on idobi Radio. It's a Monday night. It's late August. It's 2024. We have been talking about voting and electing and all that good stuff. We're not going to talk about that now. I'm just putting it out there that the DNC was tonight, the first night. So go vote. Go do your diligence. Weed is on the ballot this year. So go make it happen and change the world.
Yes, cannabis is on the ballot in many states. Also, if you I would check your voter registration. Just go ahead and register to vote again.
Oh shit, I got to. Yeah, I have to.
Yeah, there's a lot of states that are doing funky shit to your voter registration. So check to make sure that you are actually registered to vote. Probably a good idea.
Yeah, we live in a very put together liberal state, and I went to go check my voter registration. The system was down. I couldn't find it. Maybe they're like protecting so that things could be protected. I don't fucking know what goes on in the World Wide Webs, especially when politics are involved. But I do need to do that. I need to do that like tomorrow because I think the site was down in California. like all day today. So thank you for reminding me of that, CS, because I'm going to do that. Check your voter registration. Make sure you're registered. It's a big one. It's a big one this year here in this part of the world. If you're watching from another part of the world, yeah, like enjoy, I guess. but we are, it's interesting because on one hand it looks like scary and like you're like, what's going to happen and what has happened and like, can it get worse? But then on the other hand, it's like, we're going to talk about Colorado and their like psychedelic law reform and stuff like that. Like that is so hopeful to me that there is a world where we are graduating from having an open mind about weed to having an open mind about psychedelics because, oh, honey, they are in.
Colorado officials, they're using their smarts and their know-how from the cannabis legalization to guide them in psychedelics and psilocybin regulations.
You mean they're like learning from their past? No way, Jose. You are lying to my face on our podcast.
Colorado is actually like forward thinking when it comes to psychedelics.
Well, they've been forward thinking for a lot of things for a long time. They were upfront on the weed
for sure.
For sure. Thing.
Even though some politicians are going to want to make you think that Colorado made a big mistake, Colorado doesn't think so. They think they did a great job with their cannabis program, and they're going to start initiating some processes to legalize psychedelics. And they're creating a Colorado Marijuana Enforcement Division and the state's Natural Medicine Division.
Interesting.
Yes, very interesting.
We talked to Eddie, our fearless leader, about this because he stays in Colorado from time to time. I don't know his whereabouts at all times. But I do believe he might know about this. I'm curious what the vibe is. Do you know what I mean? Like we read about these things and they're like, oh, they're putting together a board. And then it's always like, well, like, do you know what I'm saying? Like there's like, I feel like that's kind of I feel like that's a little bit what starts to happen in California. Like when they start to test out like the psychedelics stuff, they'll put together like a whole little thing. And then like there's other things to deal with. So it's like,
there's always
curious what the vibe is.
There's always committees. Somebody's writing reports, field studies.
Reports, yeah. But I guess this is a good start.
This is good. And Colorado is planning on opening up their licensing on the 31st of this year. So they're trying to roll out some sort of system for psychedelic distribution and sales and natural medicinal clinics as well, starting, I think, as soon as next year.
That's crazy. So we could like go there and try psychedelics.
I'm pretty sure it's coming in Colorado. It's already been like decriminalized, and I'm pretty sure you can grow your own for personal use. And
well, here in California, there is.
It's very much been decriminalized.
Like the mushroom places. Like, are they cowboys? They must be Are they cowboys here? Because they're legal. You can sell mushrooms in like where? Like somewhere in
like Santa Cruz, Oakland.
Yeah.
There's a couple other spots, but like here in LA, I know it's been like overall like decriminalized,
right?
Generally. And you can find them in your local cowboy shops in Los Angeles, is what people are saying. Also in various smoke shops, but to be honest, I don't know.
Been frozen for a long time now.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what kind of
we might have
fake
lost
chocolate bars and gummies are out there.
This is a pretty good run
in these shops.
Yeah, you're gone. It's been fun. We're going to take a break. We might be back. We might not. I would like to come back and I'd like to finish this discussion because it deserves more talking. But we might have just lost TS due to a crappy connection. And thank you, Idobi Radio. As usual, you kick all the butts. You do the opposite of suck butts. Kiss butts. No, you kick butts. You kick. You don't kiss. And
don't panic.